Hey everybody, DGoodin24 here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to review NASCAR Heat Ultimate Edition Plus for the Nintendo Switch. I know I have a impressions video up. I've played the game a lot more, and these are my more detailed thoughts on it. Definitely learned some things over the course of the last week or two playing this that I didn't really get into there. So we're going to make this a review, and this is going to be like one of my normal reviews where I just kind of talk off the cuff about it. There's no real rhyme or reason to what I'm going to talk about here or whatever way I'm going to say it. So we're just going to go through and I'll have some gameplay in the background and you can decide for yourself. So anyway, to get the basics out of the way, this is a NASCAR Heat game, obviously. If you have never played a NASCAR Heat game before, then I really don't know what to tell you. The gameplay is okay. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. The graphics aren't anything special, and it's just kind of imagine a PS2 game scaled up. That's kind of where we're at, and it's just fine when it comes to driving and modes and all of that. It's okay. I mean, I don't know how to explain NASCAR Heat to someone that hasn't played NASCAR Heat. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you have, so we're going to move forward on with that. So, like I said, if you have played this game before, you know exactly what you're getting into, because that's all it is. This is literally a step-for-step port of NASCAR Heat 5 Ultimate Edition. It's just that. I mean, I don't know what else to say when it comes to not. It's just the same game. I mean, that's all it is. Yes, there's a few minor things that are different, but we'll get into that. If you've played NASCAR Heat 5, you've played this. So anyway, when you get out on track, you're going to notice a few things. One, the graphics aren't anything special, but you need to go into that kind of expecting that, because this is a Nintendo Switch game. I understand the graphics weren't anything special to begin with, but it's the Switch. I mean, even like 2K on Switch doesn't look that good. It's only Nintendo can really get the graphics looking absolutely incredible for their games. And I've had a few people say, well, Mario Kart looks good, but yeah, Nintendo knows their hardware better than anybody, and I'm not expecting motorsport games to know exactly what to do when it comes to porting this over. So I'm sure a lot of things had to be cut or tweaked or just completely downgraded from when they transferred the actual NASCAR Heat 5 to here. You'll notice definitely there are some low quality textures, like the back of the 43 car, the STP logo is very, very blurry and rough. And it goes that way with just about every logo. Some of the tracks don't look too awful great. Some of the catch fencing is kind of rough. I noticed that a couple tracks the catch fence pops in as you go along. And I mean, that sounds terrible, but I mean, we'll get there at some point. The skyboxes look really good. Honestly, those are the best looking parts of the game, which is really surprising. For some reason, like the tires look really good, and the skybox, and everything else is just kind of average, I guess. But if you get past the low quality textures and some of the rough looking scenery, it actually doesn't look too bad for a Switch game, especially in handheld mode. In handheld mode, the game looks pretty darn good. I have a Switch OLED, and it looks good. I have no real complaints about the game. It's actual or the graphics. I mean, it looks decent in handheld mode. Now, when it comes to playing, for the most part, the game runs okay. I say that, with a little twitch in my voice, where there are some tracks where the frame rate does like to tank. The back half of Watkins Glen, you come out of the carousel, and man, the frame rate drops. I noticed that on Dirt 2, the frame rate isn't too great. But for the most part, it's not horrible. I actually expected a lot worse when I got the game. But for the most part, it's fine. I don't really do anything like frame rate counters or anything, so this is just based off an eye test. There are definitely times where the game chugs, but it runs okay for the most part, and it runs better than I expected it to for 43 cars on this system. Now, aside from that, it's just NASCAR Heat 5. It has a career mode. The career mode is actually pretty good. You don't... there's nothing new. Essentially, you can work your way up from dirt to cup, and you can pick which series you want to start in. Cars are based from a 3-star to a 5-star, and if you pick a 3-star car, there's absolutely no way your car can get any better as the season moves forward. You can't make your team better or anything. You're stuck with the 3-star car, and the only way you're going to be going faster is if you adjust the difficulty settings. That's something that frustrates me a lot, and I don't necessarily like it, but it is what it is. There's an owner mode in it too, which is actually pretty good and pretty decent. I don't really have any complaints with it, but this game is like I said, it's like a PS2 mobile game type thing where there's not, like, they give you some of the bare necessities, but things like, there needs to be more. There's just not a lot of depth. There's a lot on the surface, but there's not a lot of depth to it, and it's kind of frustrating. But for the Switch, I mean, we're getting a better game. Well, I say that loosely. We're getting a different game with NASCAR Ignition, so hopefully they can get there. But for these NASCAR Heat games, it's just kind of take it as you see it. There's just not too much depth. You can kind of get stuck in a series for multiple years, even though you shouldn't. If you win a championship, you'll automatically get offers from the next series, but if you finish second or whatever, you won't. And there's contract things that you can do, but it's nothing too special. Now, there's also championship mode. You can create your own custom season with your own custom schedule, which is cool. There is split screen. I did not test that out, so I can't tell you how good or bad that is. There is online, but from what I've seen, there's not a big player base online. Like, I just looked, and there's only 6 people online. So, if you want to play online, you're probably going to have to get a group of friends together or make a league or something, because there's not a big player base online right now. But from what I played online, it's pretty rough. The lag and stuff wasn't a big issue, but it just didn't play great. It just felt like it was very easy to be in front of someone and come... Let's see, your right rear will come to their left front, and you'll crash them. It's not you getting hooked. It's easy to spin the car out behind you. It's very weird. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. So I wouldn't buy this for online unless you have a big group of friends you're wanting to race with. Now, aside from that, there's really not much left to be said. NASCAR Heat 5 is fine for what it is, and having it on the Switch, though, is actually a big deal. I have been wanting a NASCAR game on the Switch for a long time, and I know a lot of people have, and it's finally here, and it's actually pretty good when you have Switch standards, I guess. I would absolutely recommend this to someone that likes NASCAR and has a Switch. So if you're on the fence, I would do it. It is $40 for the game. If you get it at Walmart, it's like $33. There are some differences for sure. Like I said, with the damage isn't anything special. The graphics aren't fantastic. When you make a pit stop, there's no pit crew. Like, I know there's no pit crew when you pit under caution because you just do it. It simulates it. But if you pit under green, there's no pit crew, which is just a weird thing to cut out because I don't think that it should have taken up a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of memory. But it is what it is. It's not a deal breaker for me. But this is tit for tat a NASCAR Heat game. So if you have a Switch and you want to play a NASCAR game, this is as good as you're going to get for right now, and I don't think it's bad. I think NASCAR Heat was the perfect game for Switch, and I'm glad that they ported this over instead of NASCAR Ignition, because I don't think that would have turned out too well. With as much as it struggles on PC and PS4 and Xbox, there's no way that this would be running anywhere close to good on the Nintendo Switch. But aside from that, guys, like I said, I recommend it if you like NASCAR and you have a Switch. Maybe wait for a sale if you are tired of NASCAR Heat. I don't know. But I, for one, am glad to have NASCAR on the go. So anyway, guys, if you have any more questions, I will happily answer them in the comments. I'm sure I forgot some stuff. But anyway, guys, just stay tuned for more career mode stuff on the channel and more NASCAR gaming things. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.